guys, welcome back to the Teachers Click. Today I want to talk to you guys about what you do on your AMI days or snow days or ice days or online days away from school. I want to talk to you about what I do and just some tips. This week we had 3 days off of school here because I live in the South and any kind of icy weather is just, it's terrible because we're not used to that. So what we did, we took 3 days off of our 4-day week because kids couldn't get home on the buses and stuff, so it wasn't safe. So we had to do that. It was the right call because we've all been through this whole COVID thing where everybody knows how to do their online learning if in case they need it. We personally use Google Classroom in my school, and we use Zoom. Some of my teachers use Zoom if they need to speak with their students. What do you guys use? Now, our administration had told us to keep in contact with our students and check up on them and make sure we give them a little bit of work along the way. That way they're still being productive and doing things in our class, which I totally agree with. But as a teacher, it's our job to educate students, and I get that. I totally get that. But if my kids are having 8 subjects, we have 8 periods a day at my school. So they have 8 subjects, and each teacher is going like hardcore on them and making them learn something new or do like 15 to 30 problems each, and you got 8 classes and we were out for 3 days. That's crazy. That's so much work for these kids that are at home with all the distractions that go on at home. And you guys know they've got their PlayStation at home, they've got their little brother and sister they're having to help take care of at home. Maybe mom and dad had to go to work, so they're in charge of feeding them and changing them, doing laundry, doing all the housework and their schoolwork at the same time. Maybe there's students that teachers that require their students to Zoom, which that's fine and that's great. And I'm thinking, I've got a brother-in-law that does math and he is hardcore, and I've got one of my best friends that teach and she is hardcore in math too, which I love. My kids had them in school, love that. They learn math, that's great, and they are excellent teachers for that. I myself am a family consumer science teacher, so I'm a non-tested area, so I don't feel like I should be giving them so much work because I know they're getting their math lesson, they're meeting for Zoom once a day for an hour, they're doing their problems with their teacher there, they're doing English, they're meeting with their teacher, they're getting their English work. Science, same thing, they're getting their lecture and they're learning stuff, which I still believe is a strong thing that we should be doing. Students shouldn't just sit at home when we have ice days or snow days and be like, oh, like when I was a kid, it was snow day. Yes, there's no work. But that was back in the old days and we're in the new days. So we can still do the education process while we're at home. So for me, being a non-tested area, what I did is I like to give them something to do that gets them thinking but doesn't stress them out. I'm not here to stress my kids out. I want them to keep learning and think, use their mind. What's some critical thinking skills that they can use that's not going to stress them out, that's not going to add to their huge workload that they probably already have. So an example, what I did on one of mine was like I had them do, how does the icy conditions affect a business? And I took a car dealership, for example. And I had the kids give me 2 examples of how an icy storm would impact the car dealership business. And they'd give me 2 sentences, and that's their work for today, and that's it. But they had to think about, it's icy outside, I'm living in this right now, how does that affect a business? They're still using their head, they're still using their critical thinking skills, they're giving me a little something down, they're doing some work, but then they get to move on to their math and their English, stuff like that. So they get to spend time. And then I have certain kids that really enjoy my class. Like, they love it. And so when they do stuff like this, they may write a paragraph on each reason as to why. And that's great. I'm not forcing those kids to, and those are still the kids that are probably doing extra in other classes too. But they're showing they care about my subject, and they're tapping into that critical thinking, and I'm doing my job as a teacher, but I'm also loving these kids because I'm not piling their work on them that it's not necessary. Now, it's my personal opinion. All this is from my personal opinion and for my subject that I'm speaking at. I'm not saying somebody else can teach. We're all teachers, and we know how teachers are. And I say that with all due respect because I've taught for over 20 years. My family, my husband's a teacher, my sister's a teacher, my brother-in-law's a teacher, I had 3 aunts that were teachers. I come from a teacher family, but we know how teachers are. And there are a lot of teachers that just, because we're sitting here picturing in our mind some of these teachers that need to chill out. Now, they still need to teach, but they need to calm down. So this is the opportunity for you to let your students know that you care about them, but you want them to still get their education. How can you convey that to them? Like emails. Like I sent all my kids a blanket email on their Google Classroom, so every student in my class looked at it, and they would say something like, "Hey guys, I hope you are able to make it without me these last few days. Ha ha. I can't wait to see you guys again. I miss you. I love you." I tell my kids I love them. And like if I'm gone from school, I'll leave a big sticky note on the board, and I'll have their work to do, which I also put on Google Classroom, just that way I'm covered 2 ways. But I also put at the bottom every time I'm gone, "Love you guys, be good." So that way they know I care about them. So think about all the distractions these kids have and give them just enough to do that's not overwhelming to them. Because if you introduce a new concept to these kids, they are not going to all get it. Now, your ones that are going to get it, they're going to get it anyway, no matter how you deliver it to them, or they'll find a way to get it. They'll research. But you know, you've got some kids that really just want to stay home and play PlayStation all day. And those kids, if you introduce a new way to do things, or a new subject to them, or a new concept that they're not used to, that they can't see hands-on in front of you, that's probably not the best time to do it. So think about how you can reiterate things that they're learning, but yet not necessarily move on to a new concept yet. But again, you do you, boo. It's your classroom. You do what you want to do. But just think about it. Just take in consideration what I'm saying about how we need to be open to see things from our kids' point of view, but still get our work done. We still have to do cover our frameworks, our standards. If you are in a tested subject, you have to worry about your test scores, so you have to get everything completed. There's where good planning comes in for the rest of the year too. But know that your kids need a little break too. So, you know, sometimes take it a little easy on them. I'm not saying a walk in the park, but think about it from their point of view. I've probably made some people mad with this video, but that's how I do AMI days. That's me. That's just Heather. That's just how I do it. So how do you guys do it? How much attention or focus to detail do you put in your AMI work? Let me know. Bye, guys.